Everybody's got a song inside. Everybody's got a sunny side. Sure as every ocean's got a tide. Everybody's got a song inside.
Wow. Go ahead.
Okay, this is Doug Johnson with Old Men Stories, and I'm interviewing Roland Willits, and he's from he's from San Francisco, I believe.
Yeah, I just came from
right?
San Francisco area. Yeah.
And is that where you live, or?
Terry and I have a house. Terry and I actually met in San Francisco, but we live across the bay now. And we've had a place there for about 35 years.
Oh, is that right? And we're sitting beside your motorhome here in Apache Junction, actually. And you travel across the southern states in the wintertime, or?
Yes. So you don't want to travel across the northern states.
No, no, that's
but
where
you're
I'm
from the northern states, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. And do you go all the way across to Florida?
Sometimes. Most of the times we sort of poop out about Texas.
Okay.
And we got to make it across the river a little up into Kentucky, Tennessee.
And so do you go up in through to Branson and
we have to make it to Branson. We sort of skip Branson normally and make it to Nashville. We usually stop at Mountain View in Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Which is a great music center. And then we stop at Paducah, which has got the Kentucky Opry, and then we go down to Nashville, where we know a bunch of people now.
Okay. Yeah. And
you know Terry Smith.
Yes, I know Terry Smith.
He's where I interviewed him down in Nashville.
Okay. And I know that when I met him was about 4 years ago in Yuma, and he had at that time had written over 2,000 songs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's got like 16 or 17 CDs.
Yeah.
I have them all.
Oh, I just have one. I traded him for one of my
did
CDs.
You?
Yes. Yes, I did. And just a real gentleman, that man.
He is a nice person.
Yeah.
And like I say, I met him at home.
Mm-hmm.
And we did our first interview out in his backyard. We set up this green screen. You're not going to see the green screen. We're unfortunately out there. All you're going to see is a wonderful, awesome background that we picked.
Yes.
Or a cruddy one we pick, whatever we choose. So
yeah.
We could do a painting, some obnoxious painting.
Well, we could actually do a picture of the side of your motorhome. It's got all kinds of pictures,
So
and
that's
it's really
true.
neat.
We could go actually take a picture of the motorhome and just enlarge that and make it fit really nice behind it.
Yeah,
we do
it really looks neat.
Cool.
I just seen it today for the first time, so it would make it nice. So, and after you leave here, where are you going next?
Terry and I will head to Texas. We have some property in Texarkana.
Okay.
So we'll head there and see what's going on, and then we'll head to Paducah, where we have kids, grandkids, and great grandkids. We just had a brand new great grandkid.
Yeah, that must be special. We still haven't got any great grandchildren. We've got grandchildren, but no great grandchildren.
Terry and I sort of incorporate a whole bunch of time in marriages.
Yeah.
But it all ties down.
Okay.
It's official.
Yeah. Okay. And
it's America.
Yeah, it's America. Yeah. And so after that, do you go back out to the coast, or?
Well, we go up to Minnesota then. We have a place up by Fargo, North Dakota, in Minnesota. It's by Detroit Lakes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lake place there that we spend several months.
Okay. That's where my mom and dad actually, Vernon, North Dakota, is where my grandfather and grandmother came to when they came from Norway, the Johnson side.
Well, the Johnsons. We have a a Johnson that runs Lakeland Stores right down the road from us, or from Norway. And what's Robin and Johnson? What at Lakeland Stores, sweetie? Robin and what's her name? Anyway, they own the local stores, cool Johnsons, and he told me about his visit back to the Johnson farm in Norway.
My sister, that one that's in Yuma during the winter, and she lives just out of Kamloops in BC, in a little town called Chase. She's done a family history going back into Norway, but in Norway you have trouble following your history back because my children would have been called Douglasons.
Oh.
Because they take your first name and add a son to it.
Oh.
So my dad's name was Oscar. So if we would have lived in Norway, we would have been Oscarsons.
Wow.
And so she finally found a person back there that is a relative of some kind, you know, a cousin 20 times removed or something, but she did find some relatives over in Norway. And then on the other side of my family, my grandmother on my mom's side was from England, and she was one of the war brides that came back to Canada on the troop ships after the troops came back after
great.
the First World War.
So the Canadians were doing more than shooting up the Germans, huh?
Yeah, they were. Grandma and Mom came back. Grandma and Grandpa were married in England, I guess, most probably sometime during the First World War.
Wow. First World War?
First World War, yeah.
First one, oh yeah.
Yeah, the first
England were English, Canada was heavily
Oh yeah,
involved.
Grandpa was in the trenches in France and I think Germany as well for about 5 years during the First World War.
That's a long time.
And he kept coming back to England. I mean, they would go up for, my sister knows, I really don't, but I think he would go up to the front for a month or 6 weeks at a time.
Wow.
And then he got mustard gas and he wound up with Parkinson's really bad. And after I got to know him, he shook really bad from Parkinson's. But he also, in the Second World War, was a home guard in the Army, and that's how I came to be born in Alberta. My family was all living in BC.
Oh, okay.
And
that's British Columbia.
Yeah. We were all living in BC, but I wasn't, because my mom went home to have me with her mom and dad in Medicine Hat, Alberta, where he was a Army guard on a concentration camp in the Second World War.
Jeez.
So that's kind of my history. So
cool.
and your family, are you from the United States here, or?
I am pretty yeah. My family we're all around the Minnesota area, Iowa area.
Okay.
The Willits have been followed back to the 18th, 17th century.
Okay.
And it goes through even Daniel Boom area, the Quakers.
Okay.
Quaker type. And the brewery with my grandmother. And they had a lot of breweries going all through the area. And on my grandfather's side, he was German, and my mother was German and French.
Okay.
And there was a Boucher's up in Crookston area, northern Minnesota. But the Boucher's were sort of dropped down from Canada. And the Boucher's are sort of like Smith up in that part of Canada. You go north of the border there.
Yeah.
So it's like we are in the same type of arena.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And a lot of the Swedes and Norwegians up there, they mix with the Germans and the Irish, and
Yeah. Well,
we're all now mixed. We're American.
Yeah, we're American. We're North Americans, basically.
That's exactly
is what we
right.
are.
When I was in Alberta, Remember when I was up there and that lady came to me and we were sitting on this corner, and on one corner was McDonald's, on the other corner was a Kentucky Fried, and the other corner was a Chevron,
Yeah.
and the other corner was a 76. And we stopped in there, and this lady came out, and you have no accent or unnoticeable, and it's like, where are you from? I said, Lower Canada.
Yeah. It's funny, you know, talking about things that happen like that. I spent spent 3 years up in DePaul, Manitoba, and there was a bunch of us young guys sitting around in a bar when I thought I could drink. I can't, but I thought I could. We were sitting around in a bar, and a lot of native Canadians or North Americans, I guess, in that area, and there was a native fella sitting at a table next, and we're all laughing and joking, and finally he looked over at us and he said, "Don't laugh at me, you guys. I'm Scottish. My name is McGilvery." And there was all kinds of McGilverys that were native Canadians.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
in that area, and I guess it was because when they came from the Hudson's Bay and they came up the North Saskatchewan and Saskatchewan River and then the North Saskatchewan River, they mingled with the natives in the areas, and they had lots of children, and so they became McGilverys and McLaughlins and
Right.
all of that. You know. So that happened all over North America, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The border is a make-believe thing. Like
Yeah.
the small town that you were telling me about.
Yeah.
What was it? Coot,
Coots,
Canada, and what was the
sweetgrass.
Sweetgrass,
On the
Montana.
Montana, and Coots,
Coot, Canada,
Alberta.
and it's Twin Cities.
Yeah, you can't tell the difference. The only
Yeah.
thing
Do
they
have
got a big border crossing.
Do they have fences, or is there, after you get by the front thing, people just sort of have gates all over so they can go back and forth?
Well, I mean, up until 9/11 in the United States here, I mean, we just came across it with our driver's license.
Yeah,
and there
that's
was
right.
nothing to it. Since then, because of all the terrorism that goes on in the world today, it's become a lot stricter, and it's a lot more inspections and stuff that happen at the border now. But before 9/11, there was no really border there. It was
That's
just
right.
you crossed
Right.
easily. Now you have to have a passport.
Went across Canada to get drugs, and I mean, I'm talking about prescription drugs
Yeah.
that are expensive in the United States. You go run across
Yeah,
and get some good inexpensive Canadian, pharmacy stuff, and,
Yeah.
and now it's harder.
yeah.
And but then you'd come across, and the girls were cuter in the United States. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. It's like-
I went to Australia in 2006. I spent 6 weeks over there, and that was before I met my wife now, Shirley. And actually, in January of 2006 and March of 2006, I spent in Australia. And there was an old friend that I met over there. Well, I met him. He was a friend of my sister and her husband over there. And all the girls over in Australia, they call them Sheilas, And so I was single when I was over there. And so I was looking for a Sheila. And he thought it was so funny when I come back and I met a Shirley. So,
See, the
Yeah.
universe listens.
yeah. So,
Got close.
yeah, it was
Yeah. We got birds in our. You hear our
Yeah.
birds? Those are doves, aren't they? They're doves in the area.
yeah, there is doves. That doesn't sound like a dove. Does that sound like a dove? I don't know.
Okay.
They're on the telephone.
Yeah,
pole
we
over
get
there,
it's old men stories. You have to have birds singing.
so-
All birds love old men stories.
Yeah,
We get birds from all over the country. They just sort of gather in. They say, "Oh, we want to get in your conversation."
yeah, that's a good way to have it. So now that I know where that you're from. Is your wife from the same area?
Terry's from West Texas.
West Texas.
Actually, she's from Texas, New Mexico. She's actually in Clovis, New Mexico area.
Oh, okay.
And we had some cool journeys, yeah. And those are other stories, and those are cool other stories. We actually have recorded.
Oh, is that right?
But
So-
see how comfortable we are. Are you
Yeah.
comfortable with
Oh,
this in this
no
case?
problem at all.
That's all you do.
Yeah.
That's all you do. It's
it-
just gentle.
Yeah. I don't. When I first started, I was a little nervous right at the start, but no, not at all.
Good. So,
Yeah.
so you say your name and say Old Men Stories, and you can wave at the camera if you want.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, Old Men Stories. This is Doug Johnson with Old Men Stories. I'm sitting talking to Willis. Roland Willits. That's why. If I had that
That's
paper.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's got a T in there, but we don't care. You got close. I got Willis is Bruce Willis is a famous actor.
Yes.
It's Willis. You'll take it.
And how do you pronounce it?
Willits.
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 Okay. Willits. I thought it was Willis.
We
Okay.
just have instructions from the gallery here, but she was doing a circle in the air and pointing somewhere, and I have no idea what it means. But we will end here, and we'll see you all
Okay.
on YouTube. We'll be there for a while, maybe forever.
Sure as every ocean's got a tide, everybody's got a song inside.